Welcome to the dumbest smart guy podcast on the planet. This is the Central Unintelligence Podcast.
Yeah, welcome everyone to the CIA, NSA, MI6, Mossad, fucking whatever they call them in fucking Russia now. All the favorite intelligence agencies' number one podcast, the Central Unintelligence Podcast. My name's Josh. I'm here today with good buddy Adam.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. And today we're going to briefly discuss the... Nothing to see here. Move along. Look at all these drills happening. Nothing to see here. We're not prepositioning anything for any possible deterrence and or military action. No, just move along now. Move along here. We'll discuss what's happening. And also maybe go a little bit into more Israel and Iran nonsense. But before we do that, if you guys can help us out, do us a solid. Go to Game Rage Magazine on YouTube. Like, comment, especially subscribe, because we need subscribers on YouTube, motherfucker. All right, we need them. We only need 18 more. You guys are helping us out, but we need more help. Make fake accounts, do whatever. Fucking Langley, Virginia is like the number one listener. CIA is like our number one listener, so fucking, you guys know what to do. You can fucking pad those numbers. Come on now. Also, go to Instagram and TikTok, Game Rage Magazine, Twitter/X, Game Rage Mag. You can follow Adam at All Gas No Trash Official on Instagram. All right, so let's get into it. Drills, oh my. The last few days have been, in my opinion, very interesting for the, I guess what I'm just going to refer to as, they're drills. They call them drills, they call them whatever. I'm just calling this the prepositioning to fuck shit up, all right? Because that's what we, the United States, are now doing. We're prepositioning assets to be in theater if we need to blow some shit up. Recently, we had, I think, 4 in the last week, B-52, which are nuclear-capable bombers. They're also bombers capable of carrying massive amounts of payloads of conventional fucking weaponry. And it's basically the largest bomber in existence right now. And we put 4 more of them in the Middle East. They just arrived in Qatar, and they are ready to go in terms of, they're conducting drills and, maneuvers or whatever you want to call them. And they're basically getting ready to, in my opinion, fuck shit up. Like, that's what they're there for. We have previously sent some B-2 stealth bombers over there to the Middle East. And, again, just further saying, hey, man, listen, we don't even need to fucking send these here, because we could just send them straight from America, because we could literally send some B-52s and some B-2 stealth bombers, accompanied by some F-22s, and with the B-2s especially, you'd never fucking know they were there. It would just look like some aerial refueling maybe taking place somewhere, or you'd see some aerial refuelers go up somewhere, and that's it. That's all you'd know. That's all you'd ever see.
I don't mean to sound like a jackass, but what exactly is the stealth quality of the B-2 bomber? Is it that the flight itself of the plane it doesn't make any noise? Or is it the altitude at which it flies and it's undetectable to radar or, All
right, so I will first start off by saying all of that information is technically classified. So technically, we really don't fucking know 100% for sure what it is. Now, there are many things that, based on past history of aircraft that we know are true, that were declassified somewhat or got out, that we know what it is. So it's the shape of the aircraft, okay, that makes it the shape, as well as there's something to do with the paint that is painted on the outside of the aircraft. It like absorbs radar. So it essentially, that's how the F-117 Stealth, the SR-71 Blackbird, those aircraft, we know for a fact that their paint was specifically formulated to absorb radar. So that was one of the things that helped them become undetectable to radar, in addition to the shape of the aircraft.
Wait, couldn't you detect it because there's a void of radar?
It absorbs it, and it just, the way radar works is it doesn't show you the void. It somehow mimics or absorbs it in a way that it does not, it like diffuses it, I guess is probably the better term. So it just appears as though nothing is there, or mostly nothing is there. The F-22, as an example, has the radar signature of a bumblebee. All right, so because you have to like specify your radar settings to detect something like that small, which I don't even know if most radars can detect something that small. I think a lot of our radars can, but one of the things with that, when they were talking about that balloon, you remember those balloons that were fucking coming over, those Chinese fucking spy balloons? Part of the reason why we didn't detect them is because we hadn't had our sensors set to detect anything that small. Because everything that's Chinese aircraft, none of it has a stealth capability, so it all shows up as itself, right? So we didn't have anything that was like detecting shit that small. Once we recalibrated our radar, when the first one got through, we then were able to detect it the moment it came into our airspace, right? So when it comes to the B-2 stealth bomber, it's the profile of the aircraft, it's the paint, and it's the way that the engines operate that produce the heat in a certain direction. Like that's what fucking makes it undetectable via radar. Once it turns off all its transponders, the shit's invisible as far as radar goes. Now, it's not quiet. I mean, I don't know if you've seen like videos of the stealth bomber fucking flying over.
I know what it looks like, yeah.
Yeah, so you see the videos when it flies over like NFL stadiums and shit, right?
It looks like a Dorito chip.
Oh yeah, it looks like a giant Dorito chip. Yeah, it's like a wing. It's like a giant triangle.
Like a pixelated Dorito chip, yeah.
And so essentially when it flies over, because it is a supersonic aircraft, it gets there, you when you hear it, it's too late. Like once you hear it, it's already been passed and dropped its payload, and you're fucked. So that is, in and of itself, that is a weapon system that our enemies, if they can't detect it, they couldn't possibly know to shoot it down, which is what makes it difficult for them to defend against that. And that's why, again, because it can fly at such a high altitude, it would essentially negate any kind of anti-aircraft fire. No missiles can lock onto it because if it doesn't show up on radar, you can't get a radar lock on it. So no anti-aircraft missile systems could be able to detect it, to lock onto it, to then, shoot a missile at it. So that is the inherent, I guess, strength and also what makes it so goddamn scary to our enemies. And it's because if you can't see it coming, you'll never know. If you piss us off and we have to fucking send one of these to come fuck your shit up, I mean,
you're already dead.
You're dead. Like, you're just fucked. Like, you're never gonna see it. B-52 is a little different. That does show up on radar. That is not a stealth aircraft. However, that's not our first salvo. The first salvo is gonna be the stealth shit. And then once we've taken out all your radar and all your major installations with the stealth shit, then we're gonna send in the non-stealth shit to clean up the rest, because you don't need to. We don't care. Like, you can see it all you want. You ain't got nothing left after we fucked you up with the shit that you couldn't see. So that's what we have going on there in the Middle Eastern theater, right? We're kind of just, again, beating the drums, setting the stage up, pre-positioning assets for a potential response to something that would happen with Iran. And part of the reason for that, to get into a little bit more of the Israeli and Iranian nonsense that's happening, Israel is still claiming that they're going to respond to Netanyahu's house getting fucking attacked or whatever by the Iranians, or droned, or whatever the fuck happened there. Iran has now come out and been making hardline statements saying that they are not done with whatever it is they're going to do, and if Israel responds to the Netanyahu thing, they're gonna fucking go crazy. They're gonna fucking start targeting,
what Netanyahu thing?
With Netanyahu's house getting, if Israel responds to them droning Netanyahu's house or trying to get Netanyahu directly,
that's right, yeah,
they're going to respond with an even greater response than ever could have been imagined. And so I think that's why we're now pre-positioning these assets in theaters, so that, hey, if this does get to that point where Iran does do something, because now in the last Israeli attack on Iran, they're now saying that Iran is saying that they had some of their soldiers and some of their people were killed, all right? Israel's also claiming that some of their people were killed in this most recent attack by Hezbollah that supposedly was fully sanctioned by the Iranian government. They have had multiple people killed, whereas before their defenses have been kind of blocking any of this shit from happening, but now it's starting to deteriorate. And I think both sides are looking for a reason to make the other go. All right, they're trying to goad the other into attacking, and then that'll give them full rights to do whatever the fuck they want. Is probably what they're thinking. I think Iran and Israel have both said that they are going to wait until after the presidential election has been decided in the United States before they do whatever they're going to do. And I'm sure, even though we both know both candidates are going to back Israel, right? I think that Kamala would tolerate, because she will likely maintain the position that the Biden administration has maintained, which is tolerating and supporting it to a certain point, right? Because a lot of Democrats support the Palestinian side, so they need to keep appearances up, right? It's like you had said earlier about having your cake and eating it too, right? When it comes to that. The Trump side is very pro-Israel and very much couldn't give a fuck about Palestine. So they will likely, if Trump wins, they will likely sanction a full fucking war against Iran, I would imagine. And really, in the end, probably both sides would end up sanctioning a full-fledged war. It'll just take longer to get there if you get Kamala in the White House. It might just be a little bit longer, whereas Trump would probably go in right away and not give a fuck. Because again, Trump doesn't got to worry about getting reelected. Kamala would have to worry about, she could be up for another term. So if she were to win, the stakes are a little higher for her, whereas Trump kind of doesn't give a fuck. So, he'll just let it happen, I guess, or do whatever he wants to do. But anyways, so we have that going on in the Middle East. Over there in Korea, we've got Japan. We have these, I still don't know why they call it the JSDF, the Japanese Self-Defense Force, because they've now been allowed to have a full-fledged military. So I don't know if they really need to call it that anymore, but we're just going to call it the Japanese military. We've had joint exercises between the Japanese military, the South Korean military, and our United States military, Air Force primarily, with our B-1 Lancer bombers, which are not stealth capable, but they are, again, they are a supersonic delivery system for nuclear and conventional bombs and weaponry. So we've been doing a lot of, drills or a lot of training, I guess, with them to be the response to North Korea launching this missile system that can supposedly now reach even further than the east coast of the United States. So maybe even the third eastern portion of the United States, I would imagine to say. So that's been us saying, we're gonna fucking, we're not fucking about either with you, North Korea. We're gonna let you know. If you fuck around, you will find out. That's just posturing. We have those assets there. We have a lot of those type of assets in Japan already ready to go. We have a lot of those assets in South Korea already. So, that's what it is. We got also Russia conducting exercises with Indonesia. Those goddamn Indonesians, man, betraying everybody. Just joining up on the fucking BRICS team. Indonesia doing a lot of naval exercises with Russia. They've been this week, I think, started their, I don't remember what it's called. It's some fucking exercise that's in either Russian or Indonesian, and I don't give a shit because they're not America, so go fuck yourselves, basically. But they're, whatever the name of it is, 2024 exercise that they're doing, is just meant to further ingrain cooperation and, I guess, interchangeability within the operations of both naval forces so that they can work together in a seemingly seamless fashion if it were ever to be needed. This is typical of most nations. We do these things with people all the time. We do these shits with Australia, with fucking Japan, Korea. We do these shits with all our allies. So it's nothing new in terms of like what we do, but with the Russians, them continuing to do these exercises with foreign countries is, it's again, and with them, China doing the same thing, it's kind of just pushing further towards, all right, everybody's getting ready. We're getting ready for some shit to go down. We don't know what the shit's going to be, but we want to be ready for it, whatever that is essentially what everybody's preparing for. Worst case scenarios, I guess. So who knows what will actually happen? We don't have a crystal ball here, and neither does anybody else. But it's very, interesting to report on it and to see what exactly is going on. Anyways, that's pretty much it. Did you have anything else you wanted to say? Anything you wanted to throw in there? No?
No, I wish I could find that thing about North Korea supplying Russia with some type of weaponry. I don't remember what it was specifically. I'll see if I can find it real quick. But
yeah, I do know that they've been supplying artillery shells. That's been a big thing. I don't know if that's the thing you're specifically going to be talking about, but I do believe artillery and mortar armaments has been the main thing that North Korea has been supplying. Since they've entered into this, I don't know if you want to call it a technology exchange, whatever deal they fucking entered into with North Korea, that's basically what they've been supplying them. So,
fuck. Yeah, I can't find it, but
it's probably artillery.
It basically has to do with the equipment that they've been said has been faulty, and only 1/5 of it works. So Russians are like, "What the fuck, man?"
I mean, that could be true, but it could also be bullshit propaganda put out by either side to if on the Russian side to say, hey, if they think half of our shit or 1/5 of our shit works, then cool. Like, we want our enemy to think this, deception. Deception is warfare, right? Mm-hmm. If it's put out on the other side, it's to let everybody else get the assumption, oh, these guys are nobodies, these guys are shitbags, whatever. I don't know. I guess we'll see. But anyways. All right, well, that was it. Check us out on YouTube, Game Rage Magazine. Like, comment, and subscribe at Game Rage Mag on Twitter/X. Also, Game Rage Magazine on Instagram and TikTok. And you can follow Adam at All Gas No Trash Official on Instagram. And, the election's coming up in just a couple of days. So, obviously next week we're going to have some good reporting for you on that, hopefully. And we'll see where it goes. You can check out the No Party Preference podcast. That is where we will specifically be talking about the 2024 presidential election. So you can go check that out and, see what we have to say about that. Anyways, all right. Catch you guys on the next one.
That was the latest episode of the Central Unintelligence Podcast. Don't forget, subscribe and like on Instagram and TikTok at Game Rage Magazine. We're also on Twitter/X at Game Rage Mag. Also our website, www.GameRageMagazine.com.